What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with my Flash Season 3 Episode 12 Untouchable video breakdown. But first, before we go into this video, spoilers will be included and my personal opinions and maybe a kind of little bits of theories. So this episode was pretty epic. It was about basically Wally and Flash developing their abilities and developing their characters throughout the whole episode. So the episode started with Kid Flash and Flash having a race. What was interesting was that Vibe set up a kind of betting system. They were having bets on who would be fastest, and of course the Flash was the fastest, as this show is called The Flash. But what was interesting was that Kid Flash was just behind him, and the only reason that the Flash beat him was that he phased through a building. But obviously, Kid Flash couldn't do that at the moment, so it was pretty cool seeing Barry phase through a building, as we haven't really seen Barry phase through anything recently, so it was pretty cool seeing him do that. So obviously, Barry won the race, but it's cool how they are teaching Kid Flash new abilities each week, making him faster, and the Flash is actually mentoring Kid Flash, whereas before he was kind of negative. Now he is mentoring him, seeing as Kid Flash is vital to Iris West not being killed. So it's pretty awesome. So we found out some more history about Earth 19. Obviously betting is banned on Earth 19 due to the president or something like that. I didn't really catch exactly what it said, and it was just a cool episode. So there was a lot of character development throughout the whole episode. Vibe learned a new ability, and Caitlin didn't go killer frost mode, but she nearly did for a split second. So we found out that them changing the future didn't actually change everything, as something that came up on the board, the restaurant where the first person was killed, popped up in this episode. So the villain of this episode was called Clive Yorkin, I believe his name was, and he is a comic book character. He was from the Flashpoint story arc, which is pretty cool. So obviously Dr. Alchemy obviously had to give him his powers and memories back, but we didn't actually get to see anything about that in this episode, such like really, although Julian Albert, aka Tom Felton, I believe his name is, he basically blamed himself for it. So throughout this episode, they were putting a vocal point on Kid Flash not being Flash enough. So Iris West got touched by Clyde Yorkin, and Kid Flash was blaming himself for not being fast enough, where he said, no, don't call Barry Argo. But obviously, it would have made logical sense for as soon as Kid Flash to get there, to run over to Iris and save her, but he didn't. So it was kind of interesting. And what was the most awesome part of the whole episode for me was that the Flash phased the whole train through objects. I didn't know he could do that, so that was pretty awesome that they're showing you little kind of ability upgrades throughout this series, as the Flash and Kid Flash are going to have to get stronger and faster in order to save obviously Iris from killing, and obviously stop Savitar, which is pretty cool. So I think it's quite interesting that Iris was in a situation of dying, seeing as the whole kind of series now is based around saving Iris West from not being killed. And obviously they told Joe West about Iris dying in the future possibly, which was kind of cool, and I felt like it should have been done when they first found out. So Vibe actually vibed to the Flashpoint universe, which is kind of like an alternate universe, which still would be running in like a parallel universe. So it was pretty cool to see, and that's how they figured out who Clive Yorkin's next kind of target was. It was someone called Stone, the kind of main copper, who's now like a PI in this series. So that's pretty cool, and that's how they found out about how they had to go to the train station to stop all that kind of such like. So it was pretty cool, but how they actually stopped Clive Yorkin was pretty cool. So Kid Flash finally learned how to phase. He phased his blood into Clive Yorkin, and it stopped his abilities, which was pretty cool. So Julian Albert became like a motivational speaker. He stopped Killer Frost from going fully blown Killer Frost mode. So obviously Killer Frost, Caitlin, used her freeze abilities to stop Iris West from like decaying as fast as she could have done. But for me, this bit was a bit unrealistic, seeing as if this was real, she would have froze to death. Her arm would basically be paralyzed. As yeah, that bit kind of didn't really make much sense to me, as if this was real life. She would have went into some kind of shock from like the freeze, so I didn't really get this. So are they starting a new shipper as Caitlin and Julian Albert go for drinks? Even though he was an absolute dick to her throughout the episode, but I think slowly he's going to become a nice guy, as we've known him to be a bad guy throughout the kind of series. So it would be cool to see Julian Albert and Caitlin get a bit of a kind of romantic relationship. That would be pretty awesome, but kind of awkward seeing as Ronnie Raymond is coming back. So that's pretty much the justice of kind of what happened during this episode. It was character development, Barry accepting that he's got to mentor Kid Flash and that he's been a bad mentor and he's going to do better. So obviously now Kid Flash can phase. He phased right at the end, so it's cool that he's getting stronger. Obviously Kid Flash in the comics can do different things to what Barry can do, so I'd be interested to see if they're going to let Kid Flash do some abilities that the Flash can't do, and vice versa. So right at the end we got the Jessie quick tease where she kind of opened a breach, came in and said, my dad, obviously the real Harrison Wells, Earth 2, has been taken by Gorilla Grodd. So this is to set up the 2-part special. The Flash is on a 2-week break now, so it's so awesome that the best character is coming back to the show, Earth 2 Harrison Wells, who is my partner's and me favourite character. So the kind of story arc is that he's being taken by Gorilla Grodd and he's in Gorilla City. So they're all going to go to Gorilla City. I believe the only people that go are Julian Albert, Vibe, the Flash, and I think Caitlin goes over, and Jesse Quick and Wally West stay in Central City to kind of keep that safe, just in case they get any kind of more metas come to try and take over. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where Vibe's going. Vibe is really the most strongest person ever. I just hope they portray him properly in the coming episodes, as I did a video on Vibe being key to stopping Savitar, and I got a lot of negative comments saying Vibe isn't key. Well, Vibe is key, seeing as he can dampen like speedsters to like stop their ability, as he did on Kid Flash. So Vibe will be important to the overall season. Anyway guys, please like, subscribe and comment, and until now, comment down below and I'll see you in the comments, as I do comment back to most people. I've been being a bit slack on comments recently, as I've found it hard to keep up with comments, but I do try my best to keep up with comments. Anyway guys, I'll be dropping a video later on about the Gorilla Grodd trailer, most likely in a couple of hours after this, and we will be live streaming Mortal Kombat XL about 7 PM I think UK time, if this video is up before then. Anyway guys, peace out.